So we built this company with the idea that we're going to deliver value. It's
provide value.
Remember what Trump said? He goes, "You're going to win so much. You're going to be like, please, no more winning. Stop with the winning." Like People's Reserve is going to deliver so much value to you. You're going to be upset at yourself that you were stuck with some of these other options that you had on the table. You're going to be so mad at them because you're going to realize they really were extracting value from. They weren't providing me with services. Those services were a mask to extract value from me, whether it's through a spread, through crazy fees, through all these different schemes that the fiat schemers come up with to extract value. No, let's be honest. Let's be open. Let's be honest. Here's the service I'm performing for you. Here's the cost. If you want to use the service, go right ahead. If you don't want to use the service, then don't. And by the way, our entire system is built on a loyalty program. This really grinds my gears. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to make enemies, but I've used a certain exchange for over a decade. And these people have collected hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees from me. And I pay the same fee that somebody who signed up 2 days ago pays.
Coinbase?
No, I'm not. No. So
Sounds about right.
What doesn't make sense to me is that these exchanges are not creating loyalty programs. They're not creating opportunities for their customers to demonstrate loyalty and then to receive some type of benefit for that loyalty.
Yeah.
And this is what's really exciting to me about crypto, because I feel like frequent flyer miles, different rewards programs and stuff, they can actually be like on chain.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and there's a big future there in that tokenomic economy, in my opinion, for rewards and loyalty programs and things that make sense. That no, it's not a security. It's definitely not a security because when you buy the token, you don't own any part of the company, and it's very clear that you don't own any part of the company. And it's disclaimed that you shouldn't pretend that it's equity.
These motherfuckers, these clowns, Gary Gensler. I mean, they're so out of their goddamn minds. I mean, just
it's an attack. It's a war. It's a war.
Yeah.
But those headwinds with Trump getting in, Gensler's going to step down.
Yeah.
And right now, those headwinds have calmed down quite a bit. And after Trump gets in and this ball gets rolling, I think we're finally going to get some tailwinds.
Oh, I can't wait.
And you're going to start to see innovation that was just basically
Totally
too scared to
stop.
show itself.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. And it's gonna do what you said. It's gonna increase economic activity. It's gonna allow businesses to thrive. And these products, by the way, these financial products like Bitcoin bonds and self-repaying mortgages, because one of the biggest, most popular products in the world is called a mortgage-backed security. And it's what it is it's all a bunch of mortgages pieced together that are securitized. So you balance your risk by diversifying. Instead of writing one mortgage and a bank keeping that mortgage on the book with one counterparty, they package it together. And that one person might default, but since you're lending to 100 people on a security, that one out of the 100 isn't going to affect you. But if that one was on your book, and it was only one of a couple on your book, then it could crush you.
Yeah.
So they diversify to push out that risk. But in a self-repaying mortgage, like at People's Reserve, imagine where a product where you get a mortgage, and yes, there's a lien on your home because that's what a mortgage is. You're posting the home as collateral, and that's how you're able to get the money. But now there's an additional component that's being posted, which is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And you can post Bitcoin at a certain LTV threshold, like a loan-to-value threshold, to get a lower interest rate.
Yeah.
And the more over-collateralized...
This was like what I was thinking when I wrote that article for whatever newspaper it was here locally. I was thinking exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah, so you're spot on in it, and now we've brought it to be. Now it's going to be a real thing. And early next year, people are going to be able to get self-repaying mortgages, and you're going to be able to get interest rates.
So will I be able to come to People's Reserve and do that?
Absolutely, you'll be able to.
I might be one of your first customers.
Yeah. Well, fair warning, we're not an equal housing lender. We're very discriminatory.
Oh, really?
In who we lend with, but all right. I'd like you though.
But past the cut.
No, so
considering I've been discriminated against about 100% of the time, and I've been in and I quote, prohibited industry is what I've been told.
So look, at our table, Bitcoin
Anything's
talks.
better than that. All right.
Right? Bitcoin talks at our table because what we want to talk about is risk. And if you're going to post Bitcoin as collateral, you are eliminating our risk. We are very happy to lend you money at cheap interest rates when you eliminate our risk. And then, by the way, what ends up happening is the reason it's called self-repaying is because as the price of Bitcoin goes up, you have many different options within this product. And I think even before you understand the reward, maybe it's more important to understand the risk. What if price goes down? You're not borrowing against your Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin cannot be taken from you. The only way you lose your Bitcoin
Is if you don't pay your mortgage.
is if you default on your mortgage.
Yeah.
That's the only way. So it does if the price of Bitcoin goes down and
Up or down
breaches
doesn't matter, yeah.
your loan to value threshold and you shift into a lower threshold, your interest rate goes up because the amount of risk went up for us, the lender. So yeah,
Will you calculate in like, hey, this person's been paying for 3 years. They've always made their payment on time. Does that factor into your discussion, your thought there at all in the risk?
Yeah. So digital credit scores are a very interesting concept, and I think it's just getting started. So in our concept, no, we do not. It's Bitcoin and Bitcoin only, and it's LTV thresholds.
I got you. Okay.
So we do not take into account that consistency of payment. We don't assign credit scores. Matter of fact, we don't even check your credit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So some people within my
So Bitcoin
network,
goes up, and now your loan's over collateralized. Your interest rate goes down
significantly.
Wow.
Or you can claw back. Like let's say you put 10 Bitcoin's 100,000 basically today. You put 10 in for $1 million. Bitcoin goes to 200,000. You can take back 5 Bitcoin and maintain your contractual. Yeah, keep the same interest rate. Maintain that contractual LTV agreement. You keep the same interest rate. Take your Bitcoin back. We're here to empower you. We're not here to liquidate you for your Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I don't want your Bitcoin. I want you to be empowered by your Bitcoin.
I get a lower interest rate. I might just say, well, fucking keep it there.
Exactly.
Make the lower interest rate.
Exactly. Especially when it's not at risk of being taken from you. So that's an important concept.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is, we all want to increase our quality of life and standard of living. And the way you do that is you allow your cash to work, your cash flows to work for you. So if your part of your cash flow has to be allocated to your mortgage payment, and we're in the middle of a bull run, you can get in there and set a customizable rate. I want 5% of my mortgage payment, or I want 50%, or even 100%, completely customizable all the way across the scale. And what we'll do is once per month, we'll dollar cost average sell the small portion of Bitcoin to make your monthly payment.
That's interesting.
So now all of a sudden, the portion of let's say you make $5,000 a month and you're paying $2,000 mortgage payment. Well, now you're selling your Bitcoin. You don't really know how to time the market right.
Yeah,
you know things are bullish.
You're doing the opposite. Your dollar cost average is selling.
Yeah, but that $2,000 now can be reallocated. It can now be spent to increase your quality of life and standard of living. And that's what we at People's Reserve believe in. We want to create the tools that are needed in order for you to increase your quality of life and standard of living. Because when you do this, you don't need marketing. When you do this, you're going to tell the next person. Like when you get your self-repaying mortgage, the first thing you're going to do when you actually see it and understand it and sign on that line, you're going to be like, I got to tell everybody I know about this. I'm going to tell every single Bitcoiner I know about this because this is a no-brainer. And when you build products that empower people and make their life better, it sells itself. You don't need to convince anybody to use a product that's good for them. You don't need to convince people to go buy food. They know that they need to eat food, right? Well, you're not going to be able to convince people that they want a traditional mortgage when they can get a self-repaying mortgage because it just makes life that much easier.
I mean, if I just don't have to deal with the hassle of like 5 million people like giving me anal probes about every little payment I've ever made, and I can just like, say, hey, look, here's my tax return and that's it, and you just look at it or whatever it may be and like not have to get 50 colonoscopies about every little detail of my life, I think I would just do that just for simplicity's sake.
Yeah.
I'd even pay a higher interest rate just to not have to deal with it.
Right. Well, that's what we see in the marketplace right now.
Yeah.
That's why you can borrow against your Bitcoin right now. It's for a convenience, right? Because you borrow against, there's no tax obligation.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now I got to pay a premium to do that. But you're posting the most pristine form of collateral in the world.
That's my thought.
It's offensive to me that I have to pay a higher rate to borrow against the most pristine form of collateral versus I can go and tell them, oh, here's my assets, here's my net worth, here's my cash flow. I'd like to borrow $4 million. And they go, it's like, okay, we'll take that chance on you, 3%. And then I come over here, I say, look, I found this great piece of land and I want to build a mine there. And I need the land, labor, and materials, and I need $4 million. I'm gonna post $10 million of Bitcoin. Oh, sure, no problem. 16%. They're like, what? What are you talking about? I think I'll just go with the promise to the banker for just a couple percentage points versus the giving you my most pristine form of collateral, my most valuable asset on the asset side of my balance sheet, and then getting raked over the coals on what I have to pay to access that liquidity.
That's wild.
It's an insane concept. It's backwards, but that concept is going to be flipped upside down with the monetization of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think if you can, I really like this self-repaying mortgage thing. I think if you can work in like someone's payment history in there to like build loyalty, like you mentioned, I think that would be the perfect product.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, this guy's been paying for 4 years, and
Yeah, that would be a beautiful thing. Part of
that
what
in
we're doing
somehow.
at People's Reserve. See now, we're not like a normal Bitcoin company. I actually contractually assigned my intellectual property over to the corporation, and then they put me under NDA.